This is Your Voice with Senator Greg Ball. I'm your host, Jim Coleman, and I'm pleased to be here today with Senator Ball, the hardest working man in Albany. How are you doing, Senator Ball?
Awesome, Jim. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Long time no see.
It sounds like you've been pretty busy out there in the 40th District.
The fighting 40th. It's been great all over the district, meeting folks and delivering grants when we can, trying to help out community organizations and trying to hear from the community on what the legislative needs are, and then working with the sleeves rolled up on job creation. It's amazing how many small business owners out there just need a little bit of help and can employ people, help people reach the American dream. If government would just get the heck out of the way, and we're working to do that town by town.
Well, I hear you've been out there talking to a host of different constituents, and that's what we want to talk to you about today. We know that last week you went over to Northern Westchester Hospital, and it sounds like you were able to secure some funds for them. Tell us about it.
Yeah, this was a great event that we had that day. Just an absolute amazing community institution, huge employer for Northern Westchester and Putnam County. That photo is with Joel there, who heads up that hospital. Just a really, really great guy, and it was a grant for about a $250,000 and a new treatment center and expansion that they're going to have. Really beautiful facility. But people don't realize when they look at the healthcare issue, it's a tough one to really understand and consume. I mean, they think that all the doctors are wealthy and playing golf, and that's not true. That's right. In fact, in New York State, we're losing a fair number of doctors, especially specialists. Need for tort reform, the fact of just to put a shingle out, young doctors just can't make it in New York State.
That's
and specialists, because of the runaway costs, are going to places like Texas in droves, and it really has reached a critical point. And then the community hospitals themselves, we've seen community hospitals shut down. Many of them, they're not making huge profits. Many of them are operating on a budget, 1% profit or less, if they're lucky to even have that. And a shift in one direction of $1 million or $500,000 here or there can put them out. And we're talking about, folks having access to health care, also huge employers. So I was happy to help with this grant. And we're going to continue to support to the extent we can for the hospitals throughout our district. We have a couple really great hospitals that I'm very proud of. Well,
I know they greatly appreciate it. Things are tough out there, and when you're able to secure some funding in this kind of tough environment, it says a lot about what you're doing up there in Albany.
Well, I'm a limited government guy, but I believe that a limited government should do certain things well. And at the end of the day, my district pays some of the highest taxes in the country, and most certainly in the state. And the dollars are going in one direction to Albany, and it's a job as a legislator to also make sure that some of those dollars come back to the extent possible into our district, and I've been fighting to do just that.
Well, Senator Ball, if the hospitals aren't making money and the doctors, they're struggling, the nurses, they're certainly not, the aides out there who are working hard, who's making money in healthcare?
Yeah, and the assistants and the aides, and whether it be in hospitals or in assisted living facilities, nursing homes, I mean, they're really doing God's work. They're breaking their backs. They're certainly not making the dollars either. The insurance companies have seen record profits, multi-billion-dollar profits, the large insurers especially. And at the end of the day, you don't want to vilify anybody or any industry, but we have seen the insurance lobby be able to exert inordinate influence in both Washington, D.C. and in our state capital to provide loopholes that they have driven through on the backs of working class people to expand on their profits.
Well, we hear that you've got this bill out there that's going to wipe out deception when it comes to healthcare insurance policies, and it sounds like they're trying to, if you don't read the fine print, you could really end up with a lot of big bills. Tell us about it.
Even if you do read the fine print, unfortunately in the state of New York, what we've seen, we had a constituent in our district that had about, there was a cardiac condition that the husband had. This is the picture from the press conference that we held out in Mount Kisco. And the husband had a cardiac condition. He went to the local hospital. The local hospital directed him to another facility that could care for him. Of course, at that moment, you're not worried about the fine print that exists or doesn't exist. You're focused on taking care of your family, your husband. And this happens many instances. This isn't just one instance, unfortunately. He went to that facility. He was taken care of. And a couple weeks later, he nearly had another cardiac condition because when they opened up the bill, it was a $99,000 bill. Now, this is a family that had complete coverage.
Sure.
They, for all intensive and proper purposes, thought that they would have been covered. They were told that they were out of network, which is what the big insurers are doing, and that they would be personally liable for that $99,000 bill. Absolutely ludicrous.
Scary.
It is scary, and there are a lot of blue-collar families that are ending up with a $3,000 or $4,000 bill, and they pay it.
Right.
And over 1,000 of those bills or 2,000 of those bills statewide, that ends up in being large profits that, in my opinion, are immoral.
Sure.
And I have a piece of legislation that will hold the insurers responsible to protect the families in the way that's right to do so.
That's the right thing to do. I'll tell you, even $3,000, that a lot of families couldn't afford to pay that.
A lot of them
That's
can't, and there are certain families that fight it, and then there are certain folks who just pay it out of pocket. They have the ability to do that, and the insurance companies grab that money up and see that as a revenue stream. So we have to clear up the disconnect here.
Sure.
It's been an extraordinary fight because the insurance lobby is extremely powerful.
Sure.
As you would assume any multi-billion-dollar industry would be. And when you're a multi-billion-dollar industry, you have friends that are Democrats and Republicans. It's amazing, what money does, right?
You're always going after these big giants. Why do you like doing that? Do you like a tough fight? You like a knife fight? What is it about you?
It's about doing the right thing. And our political system is the greatest in the world, but it also sucks. Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. Right. And I've seen it firsthand as a legislator at the state level. I can only imagine how screwed up the federal system is.
Sure.
And when you try to get good stuff done, and this is a very good example, a perfectly common sense bill that protects blue collar working families.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
And you go to move that bill forward, and you hear little whispers, well, we can't do that because we got these friends in the insurance. To hell with your friends in the insurance lobby. How about your damn constituents?
Right.
But at the end of the day, dollars from a large industry like that buy power, and they're able to kill common sense legislation. And it happens on both sides of the fence.
Sure.
It happens at the federal level. It happens at the state level. So do I like a fight? No, I wish it was easy to get good stuff done.
Right.
But in politics, that's not the case.
I'll tell you, one week
Look
you're
at the
fighting the
veteran
frackers.
summit,
One week you're trying to get these fracking companies in line so they don't hurt people, and now you're taking on insurance.
Well,
it's amazing.
You just got to do the right thing. And if you upset some people, it's okay. I don't have to do this job forever.
Yeah.
I don't see myself as a senator staying here for 120 years and having some century-long legacy. I mean, I'm here to serve, and if the folks throw me out, I'll say thank you for those that allow me to serve.
I got a farm down in Kentucky. You want to go down there and work?
Should we go do
get you a job down there.
If it was in Texas, I'd say possibly.
Okay.
But hey, you can farm up here. I mean,
you raise hogs.
You're welcome to come any weekend and help out on the farm. Now
you've got hogs, and you're naming a bull. The
hogs were raised for a finite period of time, and they've gone to the other side of that agricultural heaven. But we still have the bull, and the bull has been pardoned. He will be on the farm for as long as he wants.
Now that bull was pretty special to you. You got him when he was sick. Tell us about him.
This isn't on the script, Jim.
No. You know
the bull was malnourished. He had something. Okay. He was malnourished. He had I don't know how to say this in a.
He was a little sick when you got him.
He was very sick. He was on death's door.
You brought him back.
I brought him back. I'm very proud of it. He's alive and crazy.
Well,
about 500 pounds.
Well, I hear he's doing well.
And there's actually a contest that people can put in the submission, and we're asking kids throughout the Fighting 40th Senate District to send in their suggestion for what we should name the bull. Because right now his name is Bull.
Maybe you could get a little bit more creative with some help.
So call us, 845-279-3773.
Okay.
And no bull, just name the bull.
Okay. Well, Senator Ball, I hear you're also going around town throughout the whole district, and you're talking to a lot of the chambers of commerce.
That's right. Now,
who's telling you? We've got a lot of local businesses. Well, you see it in the papers, you see it on TV.
We're doing a job store. We're going,
What's going on with that?
We've done a very good job of pulling dollars back into the district. We had nearly over $10 million that went to Northern Westchester, Putnam, on fighting for Dutchess County, the 3 counties that I represent.
Sure.
We brought back a big share, plus there are other grant dollars that we're bringing back. But you know what? Creating jobs isn't about the government handing out checks, right? I mean, government has a role, and it should serve that role, and it can help. But at the end of the day, government when you go to the chambers, you also realize government also needs to do something else. It needs to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah, sure.
And whether it be regulations, fees, taxes, repealing that MTA payroll tax, which simply wouldn't have happened without this new majority.
That's right.
Repealing that MTA payroll tax was huge. Now we have to continue to go after the regulations and the fees and the taxes that continue to kill and create an inhospitable business environment for our small business owners. So that's why we're going on the chamber tour. We're putting all these suggestions together. I serve on the Governor's Spending and Government Efficiency Commission, and I've asked that we incorporate these efforts statewide to hear from local small business owners what they would like to see done to make New York State government more efficient for job creation to help them. So that's what we're doing.
Well,
that's a picture. It's not the best picture of me, but Joe Bachmeyer on my staff picked that. So
well, all good. All pictures are good of you.
I love you.
You look like John Kennedy. It's what I said last week. Goodness gracious. Even a bad picture looks good.
Okay, you got a raise.
Senator Ball, I'll tell you, you have done a wonderful job with the MTA tax. You got that repealed. You capped property taxes. The small business owners out there must be thrilled about that when you talk to them at the chambers.
They are. They are. I mean, we didn't do it alone. If we didn't have this governor working in tandem with this new majority, none of this would have been able to get done. But there was $14 billion in new taxes and fees that were instituted by the previous majority. And it's amazing now what we have been able to accomplish. That property tax cap certainly would not have happened. And is it perfect? No. But it is forcing a conversation about lowering taxes. And we're about to go into another round of that conversation focused on the school districts. And the cap is a harder cap on the school districts. And that's where 70% of people's bills are, right? Ethics reform package that we passed. Absolutely landmark legislation.
Fantastic.
Repeal the MTA payroll tax. You're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of people in my district alone that are going to be freed up from the burden of that MTA payroll tax. A balanced budget with no new taxes, no new fees. So good stuff. We got to keep it moving forward. And I think we have to be more proactive in this budget of not just having a concept of do no harm, but actually proactively move forward to try to create a more hospitable environment. So we see less businesses close, we see more businesses expand, and we see new businesses from out of state and even out of this country come into New York State.
Well, you've been a fighter for small businesses, and we appreciate it out there.
Thank you.
Another area that we want to talk to you about today is on the area of seniors. And what have you been doing out there for seniors? I know you've been visiting a few senior citizens.
Well, you know, I'm continuing my fight to actually freeze school taxes for seniors at the age of 65. That's a fundamentally important extension of tax relief that I think we really need to get done. You know, I'm not saying seniors are not, when you're out there, and I do attend many senior events, but they're not asking to not pay in any way their fair share. But when you have a senior that at the age of 75 or 85 or older that's being taxed out of their home, not only from a moral perspective is that reprehensible, but even from an economic feasibility perspective. We have got to allow folks to age in place. And just look at the economics of it. When a senior citizen leaves their home and they're taxed out and they have to go out of state or out of the region, typically a young family will move in with a couple of kids. And as cute and cuddly as those kids are, each one has a price tag of about $22,000 on their head to the local school district. So by keeping the seniors in their home, allowing them to age in place, it's that, I call it the silver lining, the silver backbone in our community of the folks that are constantly volunteering. They're very engaged in the community. There's very little take from the system. It's all giving back. And by subsidizing in a small way, saying, look, at the age of 65, this is what your school tax bill is, with all deductions, of course. And it's not going to increase at 75 or when you're 85, when you're 105. That way they can budget and they can chart a path forward for how they can age in place and stay in their home. And by doing that, we'll have less of a burden on the school district. We'll be able to keep more seniors in our community, to have a more dynamic, compassionate community. We'll be able to do the right thing.
Senator Ball, you're fighting for everybody, and we appreciate all the hard work you're doing.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap it up today, and I wish we had more time, but we'll be back next week.
Can't wait.
This is Your Voice with Senator Greg Ball. How's that?
Jim Coleman.